Okay. Uh, Welcome everybody to the first Aeon RP community meeting. Um, I'm not sure how long this one's gonna be, but we'll see what we can't do. Um, I'm not gonna bother introducing myself. You guys know me. If you don't, figure it out. Um, we're doing things a little bit differently for Aeon. Um, Obviously, I'm not streaming this. This is going to be posted afterwards to the Aeon roleplay YouTube, so that anybody that would like to view it after the fact can go and watch it there. I'll take some time here for just a moment. I want to thank everybody for being here. I also want to thank everybody who has donated to the server and given support to it, donated scripts, or gotten their founders tag or anything else that has helped us kind of make our way for what we've done so far. It is greatly appreciated. It is going to the server 100%, and we are working on getting the server up as soon as we possibly can. It is a very lengthy process, I will say that. We have been hard at work, hard at work. There's a lot of new things that we're looking at changing. There's a lot of things that we are looking at replacing. Um, just for the staff team that's had a chance to be in the server thus far, they can say for you know back me up on this, that everything from mechanics to mining to a whole bunch of other different stuff um, has changed. There's a lot of new player owned or civilian jobs that have been tinkered with, some returning, some not. There's a lot of stuff that's changing with this server, and I really hope that it's seen as for the positive, because there's a lot of work going into it by myself and the other developers. Some of the notable changes right off the bat: we're going with a different loading screen. We're going with a different character selector. Those are obviously going to be the most immediate things that you see once you get into the server. We're adding in a new mining job, which we've done sneak peeks for. There's interactables with the furnace as well as a recycler that you'll be able to actually take items to and get things for. Um, there's a lot changing. The city itself is even going to be different. Um, we've added a vegetation map to where it changes a lot of different areas. Toledo will look significantly different. There's certain areas of the city that will look and feel significantly different. Like I said, there's a lot of work going into it, and it's all because you guys have been able to support the server and continue, help us continue the work that we're doing to try and create a server and community that people are happy to role play in. Touching on this a little bit, um, actually, Amara, you need to be up on the stage for this because you need to go over server finances. Get your booty up here. There we go.
I gotta pull up the Google Sheets. Hold on.
Not a problem. So for those that aren't familiar, while she's getting that pulled up, Amara is our new head for the donations and running well, now it's the TabX. It was going to be Ko-Fi. But all of our donations and everything like that are going through TabX. We did have a problem with Ko-Fi and PayPal, which they'll touch on here in just a moment.
Okay, so currently as it stands, we do have like just over $400 available thanks to all the donations. Unfortunately, like $300 of that is tied up with PayPal. They seem to have flagged us. They didn't like how big or how fast the donations were coming in. So we are currently fighting with them to get access to the majority of the funds, but we do have access to at least a portion to help cover the server and any of the scripts that we liked or we would like to see added in. Sorry, he threw me on the damn spot here. If you've already donated and to the Founders Pass to acquire that, congratulations. But yeah, I did add on a new package to those that are interested that want to keep supporting, that do not want to be tied to the Founders Pass if they've already gotten it. It is called the Server Health. It's the Lifeline package. It allows you to donate more if you would like. It is not required, but it is much appreciated if you do. But it's another option if you want to help support the server.
A Lifeline, you do get a shout out in the general chat when you do make your donation. We don't have a whole lot of options right now since we don't have anything that we can provide in server for anybody to really have as a deliverable. So for the time being, this is the best that we can possibly do. At least until the server is up. But any assistance that we can have with the server is greatly appreciated. We have made a lot of strides. A lot of work has been being done, even before the closing of the previous server. So we are working as quickly as we possibly can, while still maintaining a quality to the server that we've come to expect from ourselves. It's been some of it's been difficult because we are trying some new things and trying to institute some stuff. With that being said, I'm going to move on here. I need to pull up something for myself. Because I'm going to introduce you guys to our new organizational chart. Our new organizational chart is different than what it was in Ascent. I own the server. I'm lead developer, yes, but, and I've told my staff team this, I am not the smartest person in the room. I am not the one with all the answers. I am not the one with, I'm not the end all be all. The way that we're working staff now is with anything that needs to be decided, it is an entirety of staff decision. We are holding regular staff meetings outside of the community meetings so that everybody is kept up to breast of what's going on with the server. that being said, we're going to go ahead and go through who all is in what positions moving forward. Starting off with businesses, Watson is going to be taking over as the head of the businesses. I know a lot of people are very on edge to put in applications for businesses. I know I've heard a lot of people asking questions about that. That question will be answered here in time. You met her, Amara, who's going to be our head of the supporters and Tebex. Our very own Bert Savage, who's going to be the head of gangs. Horn, who is now our head of staff. A new position is the head of services, who's going to be headed up by Styx. And basically, what that position is going to do is going to ensure that the services as a whole is acting in a manner that we feel appropriate. If we see anybody is services, and this doesn't just go for PD, but if we see anybody in services that is breaking server rules or doing stuff like that, their Styx is going to be the ones that hold them accountable for these actions. Whether that be for power gaming, whether that be for meta, whether that be for anything, people will be held accountable. Another new position is going to be the head of civilian activities and events. He isn't here today, unfortunately. He has work, but Tyler Lowe is going to be the one heading up that. We've already got some very interesting ideas for some stuff that we'd like to do as events in the city. This goes for not just things for PD to do, but it's going to be overall events for the city to try and create some more unique, engaging, and interesting types of roleplay. Additionally, if any civilians have an interest in doing their own event, whether it be a car meet or whether it be anything like that, he will be the point of contact to assist them in getting their event set up, taken care of, and done. Lastly, our head of community outreach is going to be Galen. They will be kind of the liaison to talk to if you have any concerns about the role play that you have in the city, if there's specific individuals that you're if you're feeling targeted by or anything like that. They will be the point of contact for all of those concerns. Each of our management members has a individual that works directly with them and works very closely with them. And in the instance that the main person that isn't able to perform the duties or responsibilities of that position, as a for instance, if Watson isn't able to handle businesses, he goes on vacation or something happens to where he doesn't have access to a computer, there is an individual that will be able to step up, take the reins on that, and run it until he is able to return. So we have changed the staff method in terms of how everything is kind of situated, how everything is being done. As I mentioned, the server is being changed. One of the bigger changes that we're looking at doing is how medical is being done. Previously, a lot of it was very /me roleplay. It is one thing that we are looking at trying to replace. We are looking at what the best way to replace those is. We have a good idea in the direction that we'd like to go, and we're trying to work on getting that situated as best as we possibly can. It's one of our major things that we're working on. Um, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to our heads of our different heads. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to touch on? Going once. Ramsden, you're filling in for Watson apparently today.
So with Watson, he did say we would be just keep an eye out for business apps opening. There's no time period for when they will be open, but there is going to be a handbook that is going to be put out prior to the apps, and just to ask you guys to read that, just so you guys understand what we're requiring for the apps and everything to go into your business proposal. So just keep an eye out for that to be put out.
Yeah. So there's information coming out here soon about businesses. Right now, it's still a work in progress. They're still doing some finishing touches on it. Expect that handbook to be coming out here relatively shortly ish. Soon TM. I know a lot of people have also been asking about services applications, about gang applications, and a number of other different things. We are still some time out on that ability to be able to even have a beta for the server. And until such a time that we have a actual set date or even a beta, we will be holding off on service and PD and SADOT and everything else. Those positions are, I don't want to say easy to fill, but they are, it's not as time consuming to hire somebody as it is to actually put in a business. Putting in a business is relatively time consuming in terms of development for it, creating the items, getting the MLO set, making sure that it functions properly with everything around it. There's no collision issues. There's no stuff going wonky in Windows and stuff like that. Getting the crafting for food and stuff like that to be done. It's a relatively time consuming process. So that's why we're opening up business apps sooner than we are the other types of applications for services, for gangs, for everything else. I thought we had a question and answer sheet. Do we have one? Okay, there you go. Will do, Horn. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them up in there, please, and thank yous. Okay, so something from Horn here. He is saying that he would like everybody to go ahead and keep an eye out. Apparently, staff apps will be opening in a relatively near future. So keep an eye out if you're interested in staff applications. Keep your eye out on the announcements channel. They'll be possibly opening up again here in a short period of time. Do we have an other side of that, Watson? Yay!
It's an admin.
Yeah, I found it. Thank you. Well, that goes ahead and gets populated. Anybody else have anything to add that I haven't already covered? Yeah, Oscar, do you want to talk a little bit about the clothing that we've changed up and done and made strides with?
So first things first, one of the things we are doing this time around is we have put in a body replacement system for the female bodies. There is a whole bunch of clothing that comes with it that are replacing some of the vanilla stuff. So, but the vanilla options are still going to be there. This includes both men and women. So there will be some physical changes for that. Currently, I am going through everything to make sure everything is working, but women will now have the option. They want a bigger rear end, they can have a bigger rear end. If they want, certain differences in their body, they'll be able to have it. It's ultimately a chance to be a little bit more unique. I have had a lot of help. Thank you, Steph and MC. I can't say your name right now. They have been going through the clothing and the textures, giving me suggestions to give you guys more options. And yeah, so we're adding in a whole new ability to make your character a little more unique and stand out and be more along the lines of what you want to be in city. That's what I'm focusing on right now. So
it was one of the first things that we looked at doing and got put into the city, I will admit. The clothing pack that we got is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was about 33,000 vials in total, roughly.
No, it was more than that.
Okay, so it's a very large clothing pack, but it is very, very well optimized in terms of server performance. I have not seen any kind of tips or anything like that. Granted, that is with only a handful of people in city. That could very well change with multiple people in city, and we will be looking at that for as a portion of the beta test and whatnot, and issues that go with that.
It should help with any rendering problems, being that they are clothing replacements. They're not adding into. When we start adding in custom business stuff, custom gang stuff, those packs we're going to hope to keep very small. But there's hundreds of options for your clothing. I think female shirts alone go up into the thousands in the numbers. So,
as well as a number of different options for hairstyles and other different things. There's overall a lot more options.
Not forgotten either. Men have a lot of stuff too. A lot of hairstyles, a lot of clothing options, accessories. You guys are both getting some love, and men are not going to walk around looking like Ken dolls anymore.
Oh, the body replacement, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, goes for both male and female.
I think people were saying that first day they're going to be waiting on the women in the clothing stores for hours.
Yeah, so it's true to life. Men waiting on women to get dressed. Got it.
Yeah.
I joke and kid, of course. We are also changing something from previous. It was a request that I saw a lot in the old server, and we are not going to be continuing with the picture method of clothing. We are going back to the Alenum appearance, so you will have outfit codes that you can share amongst each other. for services, or if you see somebody that has a really nice outfit and you want to get the outfit code for that and everything like that, you can share it amongst people and whatnot. So there are options. You can't put rockets on a BMX. I'm a riot. You can't put rockets on a BMX. I'm sorry. Go ahead and riot now. I will say though, one of the major changes that we are looking at, and it is a very large change. I can't remember if we put in the sneak peeks yet or not, but the mechanic script is changing. JG was great for what we were doing with it. I don't feel like we ever fully 100% properly implemented it per se. But we did get a new mechanic script. It is a lot more, I don't want to say not yet for sneak peeks. Okay. So I won't touch on it too much, but it's a lot more intricate than previous. It requires actual interaction from the mechanics to do stuff. I've done it. I think it's actually fun. I've enjoyed it. It's been, I played the 5th. Plus your staff, you can go look at it yourself. We don't have a launch date yet, Loco, unfortunately. We're still working on trying to get everything that we need for the server and make sure that it's balanced and working properly. So right now, the state of development is this. There's still probably a little more than a handful of scripts that we still would like to get for the server. We have been going through each script that we get as we get it, ensuring full functionality and stuff like that. Why not keep the old server while working on the new? Because we lost the entirety of the database when the server shut down.
That and the billing that comes with keeping one server running for nobody to roleplay in it while we build a new one was pointless.
Yep. So we could 100% start up Ascend and stuff like that for people to roleplay in again. I could do it. We'd have to make a database for it and get it working and whatnot. But like, it's something we could do. I personally don't want to do it. I would rather completely move away from the notion of I'm trying to remove us being Ascend. I will say this, and I will say it multiple times. We are not Ascend. I will say it again. We are not Ascend. I have Callum's Keymaster, yes. It gives us a lot of access to a lot of different things. And we are using some things from that Keymaster. We are
the things that we have paid money for. You guys have paid money for that should not go to waste and just sit idly for someone to not use. Like they should be put to use. And if we're going to have this idea of doing something, we were allowed to use them.
And there's a lot of stuff that we wanted to use with Ascend and we just couldn't get to work in time.
Which would have been hella expensive if we had to go and rebuy again.
So there's a lot of stuff that we personally purchased and we felt would work great in the new server we wanted to use. For us to replace basically and remake 100% for what Ascend was, I think was somewhere in the ballpark of like $4,000, not including any of the housing and everything like that either.
So it wasn't including anything subscription based. That was just straight raw cost.
Yes. That was just scripts. That wasn't housing. That wasn't MLOs. That wasn't subscriptions. That wasn't, the box or CFX or anything like that. That was just in scripts for what Ascend was running. So it was very expensive to replace. We felt it best to go ahead and move away. I am not Callum. Callum had his way of running things. I have mine. Ask my staff team. It's been a lot different than what it was under Callum. I hope that it's better. I have had no complaints as of yet from my staff team, but I don't know if they would actually tell me if there was a problem. I think some people would. Others I think might be not intimidated, but may or may not tell me or not. They complain about me behind my back. That's fine. But either way, it's more chill. There you go. So like I said, we're not Ascent. I know that a lot of people have been like, oh, this is going to be Ascend 5.0 or this is going to be that. No, we are doing something completely different. Don't you hate us all evenly? Most of the time. Most of the time, yes. Although I didn't say how much hate that is in there. If it was even any. I've never specified. Like I said, this is not going to be Ascend. It's not a remake. This is a full rebranding. This is a full revamp of the server. The rules are changing. The gang etiquette is looking at changing. I'm not in charge of it anymore. Savage and Check both have full reign over that side of things, and I trust them. We spent a significant amount of time putting people into the places that we have been because we wanted to make sure that we found the best, most compatible people that we possibly could for the places that they reside in. So that do not think of this as Ascent, please. It's not. This is the start of Aeon. And I hope people see it as that. I really, really do. We're going to go ahead and dive into some of these questions here, because unless anybody else has anything to add real quick before we move on. Going once, twice. Forwards. Alrighty, first one is for the business admins. Is there a limit on what type of business you can open? Crimson, go ahead and touch on that.
Right now it's gonna be a limit to one person or one business per person. We don't have type of business. I would say a little bit more info if you're asking what type of business you can open, but at the moment there's no restriction. It just has to be feasible and realistic, not something that would be undoable from a 5M standpoint.
Yep. So if you have a business idea, go ahead and put it in. The worst that we can say is no.
Like
you will
said,
never know what's possible until you ask.
Like I said a little bit ago, there will be like a book put out with everything for businesses, so it'll give you a better understanding as well. If you don't see it being in there, you definitely can open a ticket. Myself or Watson can speak with you in ticket as well.
Next question is for owner slash management. I guess this one was more towards me. Is there a list of scripts slash wish list scripts that you are looking to add and have yet to acquire? If so, would that be anything you would be willing to share for possible donations to the city? It's not something I'm completely opposed to. But here's my one concern with that, and this is just my 2 cents in it. I'm not saying I dislike people donating scripts. One thing to keep in mind though is that when you buy a script versus the server buying the script, that script is then tied to technically your CFX account. It is tied to you as a person. It's tied to your Discord and everything like that. So in order for us to actually contact the developer for the scripts, we have to then go through you to ask you to open up a ticket and have them add us to the ticket in order to get the questions that we need answered as developers. It's a little bit roundabout. It does take more time. Some developers absolutely refuse to do it that way, and we've run into issues prior to because of it. It's been okay thus far. Our staff has donated some scripts, but if an individual in the community decides, hey, the server launches, this isn't for me, I'm done with this, then we're kind of up shit's creek without a paddle if we decide that we want to continue using that script and we need further support. So it's not something I'm against. It's not something that I'm necessarily for. Donation is really what I would say is the best method for us to be able to proceed down that route so that we have control if we do decide to use that script past anything. And to be 100% honest as well, and this is something that I should have mentioned earlier, I know that it was very I'm not going to beat around a bush on this one. Fuck it. If people get offended, they get offended. A lot of people had questions about the way that money was being used previously with Send. I can vouch that there was a number of different times where, I asked Callum, we did get a lot of scripts at a couple of different times. There were other times where I got told that we don't have the money to get stuff. So I can't say for certain what the server finances were for Ascend. I'm not going to claim to know what exactly was going on. I will say that this time around, we will be being a lot more transparent with the finances of the city. There will be a monthly post of what's being done, what was purchased, where the money is going, what's coming in. We are keeping an actual running docket that Amara has access to. And she is keeping track to the cent of what is coming in, what is going out, what is being donated, who's spending money on what. So everything is being tracked on our side. And if somebody wants to see that, we might blank out some names and some other stuff like that, but we'd be happy to share with whoever wants to know. Can we get Scout for Civ use? Oh no, wait, sorry, I skipped one. We'll touch back on that one. How are we going to expect gangs to work this time around compared to how it's always been run? Savage, you want to go ahead and touch on that?
I'll do the best I can because right now I'm extremely under the weather and feeling like shit, but I'll do the best I can to explain what I can. Me and my team are going to be more active in actually contacting the gangs throughout the life of the server and before when we start opening gang apps to get their opinion on what they would like to see for gangs. I'm going to get with the community every time I start. And as I said, you feel free to contact me, me or any part of my team, which is me and Check right now, and we'll go in there. I want to see what gangs want. I want to see what they have, but I do have multiple things. I have gang heists that you're going to see that are exclusive to gangs to get special stuff like drugs or specific gun parts or stuff like that. I'm going to try to implement a kind of like a hit system where if you have a problem with a certain number, you can go pay for bounties. I'm going to try to have most of my team active in city more than we are out of city. So if you have problems in city with gangs, you can come talk to them in actual city. We're going to try to keep everything out of Discord as much as possible. That being said, though, with gangs, when you put in your gang application, make sure you give us a good reason on why your gang is, a backstory, how you guys came together, make it original, and give us an idea of what your goals are for the city. Any gang that becomes whitelisted saying they want special cuts or MLOs or anything like that, will have to go through the process of getting their gang whitelisted. But if there is, as I said, any of the major criminals, I'm not even just looking at gangs. Criminals themselves that like to do petty crimes, they're going to have stuff to do. And we're going to have, I'm just going to say this, Bird, and we've already discussed it. There's going to be a progression system. You're going to see a lot of stuff for you start at petty and work your way up to major crimes. There's a lot of things I have in there, and I'm willing to take any suggestions you guys have and put those in and see if they will work. So if you have problems like that, you're okay to message me on those. And I will put those in and we will go through, and if they seem like it's going to be good for the community and the server, then we will implement them.
Yep. One thing that we're looking at doing, and I know I've talked with Savage about this, and like he mentioned, we are looking at doing a progression system where you might start robbing, parking meters or something like that, and you move up to something like robbing a Fleeca, and then you move up to robbing either the Pacific or Polito Bank or something like that, or you start, there's a lot of different stuff where it might start one place and lead you in a different direction, in an escalation of crime type of deal. You might have to run certain things multiple times before you get that, thing to continue on. But we're looking at trying to see how to balance it the best that we possibly can. Can we get Scout for Civ use? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that.
It's the lore-based version of the yeah.
The lore-based version of the PD vehicle.
Oh, the Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer, yeah.
If you've got a model or anything like that you have that's debadged, or not debadged, but it's without the lights or anything like that, I can definitely take a look at it. By all means, send it to me and I'll take a look at it. But I don't have the capability of being able to remove lights or anything like that, nor do we have a developer that can do something like that, to the best of my knowledge.
That's a base game asset, so it's in the game files.
We'd have to
I don't
have
think
another
that-
model created that would be a different name. And we'd have to it would basically be, the model would have to have the lights and everything like that removed.
Yeah, they
Well, I
have two. There's like 3 or 4 different variants, and not all of them have lights.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
don't think
then,
we were on the correct game build that had it in the city
okay,
for Ascend. So
Okay.
I think we're on a newer game build. I believe
We
it
are.
is in city.
we are on a lot newer of a game build. It's not the most up-to-date game build for what GTAO has, but it is newer than what we were using in Ascend. So it will have more vehicles that are optional, and more than likely at some point I'll have to go ahead and go through and start putting stuff in. But right now we're still very early stages, so it's definitely something that we can look at. I'm being 100% honest, I'll probably forget between now and launch, so if it isn't in at launch and you don't see it, by all means, put in a bug ticket or a support ticket and be like, hey, I'd like to have this vehicle, is there any way you guys can add it? And more than likely I'll go ahead, figure it out, add it to the vehicles Lua, and do what I have to do to get it added into the shops and stuff like that. So thoughts on adding a skill tree to really add personalization between everybody, so not everybody can be good at everything. It was an idea that I had, and I wish we could. I'll check up that YouTube video link that you posted. But we had found one that was very customizable. It was very open source. It was really, really nice. The thought was basically that if you went and you did hunting a lot, over time you'd get experience points that you could spend into hunting. And, maybe it gave you 1 or 2 extra pelts or an extra meat or something like that. Can be tied to multiple other scripts and is fully customizable. I'll have to take a look at it and see. I know the one we were looking at, we would have to write our own triggers in the client and server side of things. So unless we had access to the client and server side of the script, it was something we'd have to mess with. Now in terms of that, what the hunting was just one example. I was hoping to try and do stuff like, driving or something like that. If you drive a whole bunch, maybe your car goes a couple of miles an hour faster. It wouldn't be anything major, but the top speed, maybe it's a little bit better, or the acceleration might be a little bit better. There's a lot of stuff I was looking at doing. I don't know if it's something that we will institute for the launch of the server. That might be something that we do after the fact, but it's not something I'm going to say no to right off the bat. It's just a matter of how to implement it and balance it. Next question. Who do we deal with if the staff who should handle a problem happens to be somebody we aren't comfortable with due to their previous behavior? If you have a problem with a member of staff, that if you open up a staff PR ticket, I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. Those tickets go straight to Horn and to Steph. They will be the ones that handle those tickets specifically if it is a complaint against Steph. Or not Steph. Staff. God, Steph, the hell did you do to piss me off? If there is a issue with staff, Horn and Steph will be the ones to handle it. If they are the focus of the player report ticket, both of them, or whatever happens, then I will be the one to handle it. And I will, ask for assistance if I feel so necessary. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I don't 100% know their M's. It's difficult to actually say, like, the way the question is worded. It sounds like if they have a complaint, if with a certain member of staff, how would they handle that? Um, if there's something that is, an individual who is handling a certain area and you don't feel comfortable talking to them, by all means, talk to me instead. You know, I am the owner. I run the server. I will step in and deal with whatever situations that are necessary for me to handle. Everybody's job, whether it be business, staff, uh, TEBEX or anything like that, I step in and I assist people where necessary. That's kind of my role as the owner. I leave people to kind of do what they need to do, and I trust the people that I've put into positions. So I hope that you guys can too. I know that not everybody gets along, but it's definitely something that I'm hoping we can work past. Last call for questions. If this helps for whomever asks the question, when it comes to handling staff complaints, I will be biased and hear out both sides of what happened, then handle the situation accordingly. I know Steph will be the same way. Yeah, there you go. So that's from the head of staff himself. I know he's a little indisposed today, but that's directly from him. So, last call for questions, comments, concerns. Other than that, we'll go ahead and call the community meeting finito. Going once. Going twice. New question.
Watson said there was one more.
Since the question came up, how would you see it being handled if there is a member of staff who has members of the community blocked? Like I said, I know not everybody gets along with each other, and there can be some issues and stuff like that from the past where words were said, something happened. I don't expect everybody to get along. I know that that's absolutely fucking impossible. That's why there's war and shit, for crying out fucking loud. We can't even agree on that shit, let alone, everyday shit. So, like I said, if there's an individual that is supposed to be handling something and they are blocked by you, then by all means, you can always bring your concern to me. If anything happens to where there is an issue where you feel like you're being roadblocked, come to me, talk to me. I don't usually block anybody. So hopefully that answers the question. I don't ever block you, Watson. Shut the fuck up. All right, one more time, going once, going twice for questions. Sold. If you guys have anything, by all means, feel free to message me. Open a support ticket if you have any further questions, and we'll try and answer it the best that we possibly can. Or if there's any concerns that you have, we can definitely go through and take a look at it. We appreciate everybody who showed up, and we appreciate your guys' continued support trying to get this server up and running in a timely fashion. Hopefully we'll have it done sooner rather than later, but obviously this is a big project and it's going to take some time. And I hope it becomes fruitful for us. Both for you guys as a place to RP that you guys can enjoy, and for us as developers who've put in the work and see people enjoy it. Because that's, for me at least, that's why I do this. I'm not looking for any kind of financial gain out of this. I want to see people enjoy themselves in a server that I create. That's my payment. So with that, I appreciate everybody. We're gonna go ahead and shut down the stage. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to. You can't go home. Whatever the fuck it is. God damn it. I appreciate everybody. Hopefully everybody enjoys their Memorial Day weekend. And we'll catch you guys the next community meeting. Have a good one.